up, SomeNighterZ? How's everyone doing? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good night. Currently, for me, it is 2:10 as I am recording this video. Hope everyone's doing just fine. I mean, seriously, just fine for real. That guy got absolutely shit on by that guy. Goddamn. Anyways, what am I doing right now? Well, today, if you can see by the title, I'm doing a bit of a fun thing. I would say it's pretty fun, and that is we're going to be talking about some ethical theories. That is, where the hell did that guy go? Is he dead? Did he disconnect? Anyways, yeah, we're going to be talking about some ethical theories. I hope everyone is excited and ready to talk about them, all the nuance that we can talk about them. Today we're going to be starting with utilitarianism, and if you really can't tell by my my speech, I am a bit inebriated, but I believe that'll give me some better insights, some better insights into the, I don't know, just the world. Ow, fuck that guy. Ow, I hate that guy. We're gonna go this way, and yeah, I thought it'd be cool to have Minecraft as a background. Fuck. I wanna see how fucking ass I can be while I'm trying to. Oh my god. Well, I'm trying to do my best to talk about these ethical theories. And today, as you can see by the title, we're going to start with utilitarianism. Now, for those of you who don't know, and that should be a few of you, because I know for a fact that most SomeNighterZ viewers are very well versed in ethical theories. I mean, I've looked at the analytics, right? I've looked thoroughly. Shit, I'm out of shit. I looked through the analytics, and it actually shows me that shit. It actually shows me that at least 99%. Think about that. 99% of SomeNighterZ viewers are very ethical in nature, and that honestly makes me very proud. But let's just, for the benefit of the doubt, let's say somebody comes across this video and isn't really subscribed to me, then let's just talk about it. All right. Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that basically is only focused about one thing, and that is consequences. Repeat after me, everybody. Consequences. Now, consequences to what? Well, let's talk about it. Utilitarianism basically states that an action is ethically sound if and only if, let me take that, the action taken leads to the greatest ratio of benefit to harm for every single person that is affected by the action. Now that's a bit broad. I would say, am I gonna die here? Yeah, I'm gonna die. Hey, that's a little much. So let's break that down, right? Utilitarianists care about one thing, right? And that is, how I said, consequences. And basically they care about what is the greatest possible outcome for the most amount of people. They care about the many. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm just focused on Minecraft. What was I saying? Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So, how does a utilitarian go about making a decision, right? Let's talk about that. First of all, I think we've all made utilitarian like decisions in our lives, and I'll show you how. Have you guys ever made a pros and cons list? There you go. Pros and cons list. That is very utilitarian in nature, because that is basically what utilitarians do. Shit, fuck that guy. He took a fucking golden apple. I'm not gonna fight him. And yeah, that is basically what utilitarians do. Get shit on. What was I saying? That's basically what utilitarians do. That's like the third time I said that. That's basically what utilitarians do. They make a pros and con list. But you know, when you make a pros and con list, let's say you're gonna quit your job. Right? Let's say you're gonna quit your job. You make a pros and cons list between yourself, right? What are the good things that'll come from me quitting my job? What are the bad things that'll come from me quitting my job? Maybe I don't have a job lined up. Maybe I'm not going to have money for a few weeks. Maybe I really like this job, but my schedule doesn't allow me to take anymore. Maybe instead of, some bad things, maybe some good things. It could be, I don't know, I hate my job. It could be I hate my job. Maybe there's another job that wants to pay me more. Maybe, there's so many different pros and cons that you could choose to look at when you're doing this, and that would be a utilitarian-esque decision making process. However, that is only looking at yourself. Utilitarians, the thing with utilitarians is that they don't care. So, oh my god, utilitarians don't care solely about the person making the decision. No, they care about every single person that is affected by the decision. If this is like a business sided conversation, then we would talk about stakeholders versus shareholders. Shareholders are people that buy stock in a company. Those are, the people that pay money to get a piece of the company, become partial owners, and stakeholders. Stakeholders are a little bit different. Stakeholders are people that are affected by the company and everything that they do. This could literally range from anything from employees to the literally community around a business. They get affected by the business. Those would be obviously the shareholders. They're part of the stakeholders. They are. Shareholders are definitely part of stakeholders. Oh my god, I died. I feel like I was one. I wonder if I'm gonna win any. And there's also employees. I don't know if I've mentioned employees. There's suppliers. There's so many people. So that is what utilitarians are worried about. They're worried about the stakeholders. They're worried about every single person that could be affected by a decision. So let's, hypothetically, let's go back to the point of quitting your job. Let's say you're quitting your job from a utilitarian standpoint. What would you do? Well, first, you would need to make a pros and cons list, but not just of yourself. No, you have to make a pros and cons list of every single person that would be affected by your decision to leave your job. Now, who would those be? Let's get started. Obviously, yourself, right? You would be affected by your leaving your job. I've already mentioned a few. Oh my god, I'm so good. Oh my god, I'm so good. I've already mentioned a few ways that you would be affected, either good or bad. So let's say you're affected mostly good by you leaving your job. And what you would do is you would see all the bad things and all the good things that you would be affected by from leaving your job, and you would add those up and basically get the net gain or net loss, either good or bad. Let's say for you, you have a net gain. You have more positive outcomes for you leaving your job than negative outcomes. So that's you. Next, let's look at your job, right? So we get the pros and cons list. We have you already. That's your decision. Another thing that I failed to mention, pros and cons list is just two decisions, right? This is not what utilitarians do. Utilitarians don't just take two decisions into account. No, they take into account every possible and feasible decision that could be made. Not just the two options that you want to have. No, every option and every decision that could be made. So maybe it could be leaving your job. Maybe it could be staying at your job. Maybe it could be asking for a raise. Maybe it could be talking to the management about why you're so unhappy. Maybe it could even be trying to get your boss fired. I don't know. I finally got a kill. Those are all the feasible options that I could think of, but there's obviously so many that utilitarians have to think about before they even think about making a decision, and that goes into the pros and cons list too. You don't just make a pros and cons list for the two decisions. No, you make a pros and cons list for every single decision. Okay, now let's go back to the just quitting the job decision in the utilitarian viewpoint. We've already talked about yourself. Let's say you have a net gain of, I don't know, probably maybe 6, right? Then let's talk about the job that you're actually quitting, that business. They would have a pretty negative outcome from you quitting. Sorry, I had to drink water. They would have a pretty negative outcome from you quitting. Most apparent being that they're out on the worker. If they don't have a worker, then they would have to train a new person. Well, they would have to wait and see if they can hire a new person. They have to find a new person first of all, and they have to train that person. That takes time. That takes money. That person might not be as good as you. So that is those are all pretty big losses. Now let's say maybe you weren't that good of an employee to begin with. I mean, if you really don't like that job and you're wanting to quit, maybe you're not the best employee for them. So that could be a loss. But I think that's a pretty big. I mean, it could be a game. I think that's a pretty big loss. The whole having to train the new employee and hire them, that costs money. That really costs money to train an employee, and just to the time needed to train. That's pretty bad. So let's say that the business that you're leaving, that job, they have a net negative outcome from you leaving. Now, how about not your other employees, right? How about your other employees? They get affected too, don't they? Of course they get affected. How do they get affected? Well, you're literally working with them. They won't see you anymore. They might be sad that you're gone. That's a pretty low, I don't know, effect. Yeah, just being sad that you're gone. Just boohoo, get over it. But another thing, if you leave and they can't find a replacement for you, guess what? They're gonna have to pick up the slack, right? They're gonna have to start working maybe overtime, maybe just get more stressed out just from you leaving. That's a pretty negative outcome and consequence for you leaving. So your coworkers are definitely gonna have a net negative result from you leaving their that business. Oh my god, I'm so fucked. Who else? Customers. Let's say you have a service job, and maybe there's a few regulars that go to that business, and that they go there specifically for you because you are really good at your job. Let's say you're really good at your job. Those customers, they're not gonna be happy that you're gone. Obviously, they're gonna be sad. Maybe they won't go to that business anymore. Maybe you gave them the best service because you really understood that customer, and now that you're not there anymore, they're gonna have a worst service. They're gonna have to maybe take time out of their own day to find a different business, or a different, not just business, maybe a different employee that understands them as you do. Maybe it's going to take time for another employee to even get ready to understand them and figure out what they need, just like you did. Oh my god, I just jumped off. So once again, that is a pretty negative gain for a customer that they could have from you leaving your job. Who else? How about this one? A lot of people don't think about this one. How about the employee that the business is going to hire to replace you? Now, I would say that that is a pretty good gain for that employee because they didn't have a job. They were looking for a job, and now that you're gone, that spot opened up, and boom, they have a job now. Hell yeah, that is a pretty big gain for them. Although, if you didn't like that job, there might be some the fact that maybe they won't like the job either. But anyways, if they're looking for a job and they apply for that job and they like that job and they get hired for that job because you quit that job, that I would say that's a good net gain for that person. They really needed that job, let's say. So there we go. We have your net gain and you have that employee's net gain. We have a lot of other net losses, honestly, I would say. How about a few more gains? There is definitely a lot more. Oh my god. I'm stuck. Oh, there's definitely more net gains. How about the employers and the business that will hire you after you quit? I think that's a pretty cool thing to look at. Yeah, because once you quit your job, let's say you quit your job and you go to another company, that company will now have you and their roster of employees. They will have your expertise, your knowledge, all that. If you're, let's say, a good worker and you actually like that job, then that would be a pretty big gain for that company because now they have another employee. Maybe they lost one and you fill that role. You're like the employee that fills the role, just like the employee that's going to fill your role after you leave. That's going to be you for that other company. And now that you do that, that's going to be a pretty big gain for that other company that you go to because they're going to have you. I feel like I've already said that. Oh, no. So once again, we have that net gain for that company. So like I'm sure there's so many other people. Okay, how about this? Your family. All right, let's say you have a wife, you have kids, and you're the only person that works. Maybe your wife works too. Maybe you both work. Who cares? Whenever you quit that job, and if you don't have that another job lined up, ready to go, right out of the bat, guess what? You're not going to be making money for at least a few weeks, maybe a month. Who knows, right? It's pretty uncertain if you don't have a job lined up. And that means that your family, and obviously you as well, that could be a negative for your family. You know, they won't have that security that that job gives you. You won't have that anymore. Oh my god, I almost died. So you see how like more nuanced this entire, oh my god, I got shit on me. This entire conversation is, now that we don't just take you into account, but this entire thing, right? This entire thing that we just went over is not even like scratching the surface of utilitarian decision making, because that's only one option. How about if you stay in your job? Well, if you stay in your job, you might be miserable, right? That's negative. But you have money, positive. Maybe you turn down that job offer from another company. That's positive for your company that you're working with because you stay working with them, but that's negative for the other company. Maybe that's positive for the customers that get to keep you around and get to keep seeing you, and you know, you keep working with them and giving them good service. It is crazy because we're only looking at those two outcomes. How about getting your boss, talking to your boss, maybe getting your boss fired if he's mistreating you? Like that could be negative for him, negative for the company. They have to fire. Oh my god, they have to find a new person to be a manager now that he's gone. There's so many layers to utilitarian decision making. But let's say you figure out every single possible action. Now, it can't just be any action that could happen. It has to be feasible. It has to be realistic action. It can't just be like, I'm gonna start my own business and become a millionaire in like a few weeks. That's not gonna happen. All right, that's never gonna happen. It might happen, but it's like a 1%, less than 1% chance that happens. So that's not a feasible, realistic option that you have at that moment. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for possible decisions that you could make, and I've already listed a few of them. Once you get those all, figured out and listed, you look at the net gains and net losses for each and every person, and you make the decision that affects the most people positively, and the least people negatively. Okay? That is what utilitarians care. They care about maximizing utility, positive outcomes, and minimizing bad outcomes. As long as the most people, right, the most people have the best outcome that they could have, that is ethically sound for utilitarians. Now, I don't know if you're thinking that, hey, this is a pretty good way to make decisions. You take all the outcomes, you list them, you make pros and cons. I've made pros and cons before. Of course, everyone's made pros and cons before. How could that be a bad way of making decisions? Now this is where we get into a bit more of the nuance of utilitarian decision making. Let's say, hypothetically, right? You're a company, and come on. Sorry guys, I suck at this game. It's because I'm drunk, I swear. Let's say hypothetically, you are the owner of a company. Let's say you make life-saving, right? Literally life-saving technology that every single product that you put out saves a person's life. That is pretty important, I would say. That is pretty fucking goddamn important. Now, let's say that in order to make that life-saving, I finally got a kill. I feel like I've gotten a kill before. Anyways, in order to make that life-saving piece of technology, every single time you make one, you have to make like a shit ton. I mean, like a shit ton of pollution. maybe you have to overwork your workers so much that they are miserable in order to make this piece of technology. Who knows? Let's say that's the case. Your workers are getting overworked, the environment is getting polluted by you making this piece of technology that saves lives. Do you keep making it? Right? You're saving lives. You're helping people, but at the same time, your workers are miserable. They're depressed, they're overworked, they barely get any sleep. And how's this impacting their lives at home? Obviously, if they're not getting any sleep, they're depressed, they're definitely gonna be a lot. Oh, I'm gonna die. This guy's got full fucking diamond. And they're obviously gonna be not the best at home. They're not gonna be the best citizens. Maybe they'll start working less efficiently. Maybe you'll start getting more defects in your products. The quality control will go down. And this is the kind of thinking that you have to make as a utilitarian. Do you keep making this technology that is actively saving people, but actively polluting the environment, making your workers' lives miserable? Like, what do you do? Right? Like, what do you do? Honestly, I feel like that's a little harder to figure out, in my opinion. Oh my god, I'm so fucked. Yeah, whatever. Let's take everything into account. The shareholders are probably happy that you're selling so many products that are helping people. I'm sure a lot of people are buying products, so they're making a lot of money. They like it. Obviously, your employees don't like it. How about the environment? Let's say you're polluting a river. All the fish are dying out. All the wildlife is dying. Maybe people that go to the river to swim are getting diseases. Maybe they're getting sick. So you see the problem here. It's not as black and white as this is the best for most people, because you're still shitting on a group of people, even if most people are being benefited by your action. There's still going to be a lot of people that some people at least that are not going to be benefited, that are going to be thrown under the bus by your action. Now, is that ethically okay? Do you guys think, honestly, like, I want you guys to comment down below, do you guys think that it is ethically okay to bring down that guy sucks, to bring down and throw under the bus a group of people so that more people can have better lives, can have a better impact? How does that feel? Are you guys okay with that? Would you be fine with doing something like that? I'm honestly curious to just hear what you guys have to say. Now, there's this story, right? There's this thought experiment, I think, as to why utilitarianism doesn't work. Now, I don't remember fully the name of it. I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember what it's about, okay? And that is the most important part. I remember exactly. Get shit on. I remember exactly. Oh, I won! I remember exactly what it's about, so I'll tell you right now. There is a town where everything is amazing, everything is dandy, everyone is in great health, everyone is happy. Okay? This is utopia at its most, just amazing, idealized. It's perfect. Ugh, had to drink water. However, in order for all of its residents, or I should say most of its residents, to be happy and live in just eternal pleasure and all that, there has to be one person. Let's say, I don't know if this is exactly how it goes in the story, but I'll add it. Let's say one person every year, every few years, whatever, that has to be sacrificed. This person will be taken, they will be imprisoned, and they will be tortured for the entirety of their lives. Absolutely horrible torture. I mean, I don't even want to mention. Oh, how horrible the torture is. It's bad, okay? It's bad. Will you want to live in that town? Like seriously, would you feel good about yourself? Fuck. If you were one of those citizens. Would you really? Knowing that every year a random person is tortured and given the most miserable time of their lives forever, just so that you can be happy, just so that your neighbor can be happy. There will always be more people in this town that are happy and are having a good outcome than bad. Always. There will always be more people that are having a good outcome than bad. If you're a true utilitarian, then of course this outcome is pretty good for you. You would be like, hell yeah, I love this this town. You know, everyone is having such a good time, and we only have to sacrifice a few. The most people are having the greatest outcome. That is what utilitarian is about. Remember, it's about the greatest possible outcome for the most amount of people. That is exactly what this town is doing. And this is, I feel like, what brings down utilitarian decision making, because from what I've seen, most people would walk away. Most people would leave this town. They wouldn't feel right about living in this town. Die, 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 die. Are you shitting me? Hell yeah. And let me tell you why. Well, not like let me tell you why. Another thing about utilitarianism is if you're a true utilitarian, your gains and your benefits have the same exact weight as everybody else. When you make that pros and cons list, you don't put your wants, your gains, all that. You don't put that above anybody else. Everybody is in the same playing ground. So let's say you live in that town, right? And let's say you get picked to get tortured for your entire life. A true utilitarian would be 100% fine with that. They would be like, yep, everyone else is having a good time. Everyone else is living their best lives. That guy sucks. I am 100% okay with getting tortured for all of eternity. Hell yeah. I would like to ask you, would you want to be tortured for all of eternity so that I'm fucked, so that most people can have good lives and be happy and feel pleasure all the time? I would be surprised if you said yes. Torture me. I am completely fine with getting absolutely shit on for everybody else. I would be completely fine. I'd be really surprised if you said that, truly. And hey, if that's truly what you believe, then look at you. You're a utilitarian. You found your way of thinking. There you go. Have fun. But most people probably wouldn't like that. Fuck, I was so close. That was third, really? How does that make sense? Oh, third killer. Never mind. And yeah, that's where utilitarian falls into pieces for me. Because if I was living in that town, one, I would not want to take the chance that I would be fucking tortured for all of eternity, my life, just for everybody else. I wouldn't want that. I don't think that's fair. And if I don't think that that's fair to happen to me, why should I subject other people to that, right? Why should we throw the minority of people under the bus just so that we, the many, the majority, can come out on top? That just doesn't add up to me. So let's move on to the segment that I want to do for every single one of these talks, and that is, how would a thinker of this, how would a follower of this ethical theory respond to the trolley problem? And today, obviously, we're going to be talking about how would a utilitarian, a true 100% fucking utilitarian, how would they handle the trolley problem? And I've been thinking about it, right? I've been thinking about this, to make the video. And honestly, I feel like it's a lot more nuanced than I thought. To be 100% honest, it was a lot. I had to do a lot more thinking than I thought. And honestly, I don't even know what the answer is right now. But I'm gonna work through it with my mind with all of you guys. So let's get started. If you guys don't know about the trolley problem, which should be a few of you, like I said, my viewers are very, very ethically sound, very intelligent. But for those of you stumbled upon the video, let me just quickly explain the trolley problem. I'm gonna do a very simple trolley problem, just so we don't have any other factors. It's just gonna be very bare bones trolley problem. So, the trolley problem is basically this. You are standing on the side of railroad tracks. Next to you is a lever that will switch the track left or right. Or, well, it'll switch the track, okay? From the track that it's in right now to another track. In the current path that the train is going down, it will run down let's say 4 people. There's 4 people in that train, in the train tracks. They're tied. Like, you can't save them. All right, you can't get them out of the train tracks. They will die if you do nothing. Right? That's the start of it. Damn it. They will die if you do nothing. Now, next to them is another railroad track that has 1 person. There's 1 person on that track, and he's tied there, just the same as the other people. If you go there and you flip that lever, you turn the lever, the railroad tracks will switch, and the person that is on the other tracks, that 1 person, will die. What do you do? That's the question. What do? You flip the railroad track? Do you condemn that 1 person to die to save the 4 people? I believe this is very utilitarian. That guy sucks. This is a very utilitarian thought experiment in my eyes, because you're making a pros and cons list. You're taking the many against the few. Now, that is the first thought that I had. Obviously, a utilitarian would take into account, well, look, there's 4 people right here, and then there's 1 person right there. Obviously, a utilitarian would save the 4 people by switching the tracks and killing that 1 person. But then I started thinking about it just a little bit more. I feel like a utilitarian in these... Now this is just 2 options, not many options. You only have 2 options in this. It's narrowing it down a little. Turn the lever, not turn the lever. But there's still a lot of different ways to think about this. I feel like a true utilitarian would take into account every single person that is on the tracks. I mean, why not? You need to see which outcome, which action has the greatest net positive gain for the most people. So what would a utilitarian do? They would find out exactly who is in... Oh my god. They would find out exactly who is on the tracks. Maybe the person on the other track that you have to switch it to, the 1 person, maybe he's a doctor. Maybe he's a world-renowned surgeon that performs life-saving surgery every single day. And so every single day that he's alive, he saves another person. That would be a pretty big loss to just humanity, to society in general, if that person was to die, because they can't save people if they're dead. Every single day that they're alive, they save 1 person. So there's that. How about on the other side? Let's say on the other side, one of the people is a mother, right? A mother. Let's give her a single. Let's make her a single mother for this thought experiment. She's a single mother who has to take care of 2 kids, two young kids, what do? If she dies, then her kids have nobody to look after them. She's a single mother. She has no family. Their kids are honestly going to go into uh, the foster care system, which they might not, they might not even get taken. They might just fucking die, to be honest. They might be homeless. There's so many things that could happen to their kids. Those kids' lives would be negatively affected I mean, it's gonna be a really bad effect on those kids' lives. They'll be forever impacted. Incredibly negatively, I would think. Does that outweigh the surgeon? Huh? Does that outweigh the positive impact that the surgeon has on all those people? Obviously, if you're utilitarian, two people is a lot less than the, honestly, countless amount of people that, oh my god, fucking knockback, asshole, that the surgeon could save across his entire life if he stayed alive. All right, how about the second person? Maybe the second person. Sorry, I had to drink water. Maybe the second person is an actor. How about that? The second person is a world-renowned actor that has millions, and I mean, millions of followers that care for him, that love him, that watch all his movies, all that. I believe in that case, a utilitarian wouldn't give a fuck about that actor. Honestly, like his life would not equate the surgeon at all. Yes, he makes a lot of people happy. Maybe his movies have saved a lot of people. Maybe he makes a lot of wholesome and heartfelt movies that make people feel heard. All that could be true. But I feel like the actor himself does not have a big enough positive impact on the most amount of people as the surgeon. Maybe if you add him to, he is tied to the tracks, the same as the mother. So them together, they're a little something. How about the third person? All right, let's talk about the third person. How about the third person isn't a surgeon? Maybe they're a scientist. Maybe they're a scientist trying to develop a cure for a deadly disease. Now, they might not be able to achieve it. This disease is known for being incredibly hard to cure. Nobody has any idea how to cure it, but they're researching it. They're working on it. They're pouring their heart and soul into this cure. What's their life worth? If they stay alive, they could develop that cure. They could save hundreds of millions, just countless lives with this cure for this horrible disease. But now this is where we get to the this is where we go back to the feasible, possible outcomes. How possible is the development of the cure? Is this scientist's life and research, is he going to be able to make a positive enough impact on the research for this cure with his life? And if he does that, how many lives does that equate to the surgeon? Right, the surgeon is going to save one person for the rest of his life. Maybe he's 40 and he's got hella years left. Will this researcher be enough to outweigh this one person? How about the fourth person? Let's talk about the fourth person. Let's say the fourth person, let me think, who would be a good person to put in here? Okay, let's say the fourth person in the, fuck. Damn, I'm not good at this game. Anyways, let's say the fourth person that is in this the first train track that is going to be ran over is a let's say this person is a social worker, right? Maybe they work with troubled teens to help them get them out of uh, spiraling down, going down bad life choices, all that. They work with a lot of people and help them turn their lives around for the better. Now, they're obviously impacting the people they work with, but not just that, they're working with troubled people that are making bad life decisions usually impact other people other than themselves. It could be a kid that is stealing from a family, right? That family's gonna get stolen from. Maybe it's a kid who does drugs. They'll start selling drugs. That people that they're selling drugs to will definitely get impacted by that. There's so many different things, people that could be uh, affected, right, by this one person's life. This one person's life could affect so many others, just like the surgeon. Now, you take every single one of those people into account. Who would the utilitarian save? That is incredibly hard to quantify, and I think it changes depending on the context. It changes depending on the person. It changes depending on who is in every one of those tracks, how many people are in those tracks. If you were to ask me, I would say that every single one of those people combined could probably impact more people uh, than the surgeon. I feel like they really could. The surgeon helps a lot of people every day. Every day he saves one life. But now, how about the lives of the people he saves? You think those people could impact other people's lives? Like, it's so much to think about. It is honestly, fuck, I'm so screwed. It is so much to think about, really. Realistically speaking, if I had to say what the utilitarian would do in this particular situation, I believe that they would save the four people. Obviously, the four people, one, they're more, right? There's more of them. Two, collectively, I feel like they have a pretty good chance of being able to affect more people positively than the surgeon does. So that is what I think a utilitarian would do. I think the utilitarian would take into account every single person, check out how many people they would impact, their lives, them being alive would impact, and use that to make their decision. That is what utilitarian would do. I'm trying to think of a scenario where the utilitarian would actually choose to save the one person and not pull the button, right? And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, because I mean, utilitarian, how I said, they care about the most people, so obviously four is greater than one. So what would have to be the scenario for a utilitarian to say, you know what, fuck this one person's life is more valuable than all these other people's lives? I'm really trying to think about that. And one pretty easy one that comes to mind is just switch the roles of the people that are in the first track, the four people. If you make those people a lot less valuable to society than the surgeon, maybe they're ex ex prisoners. Maybe one of them, how I said, maybe they're an addict. Maybe they're the troubled teen themselves. Maybe there's just a single dad. I mean, a single man who doesn't have anyone relying on him. Nobody would miss him if he's dead. Against the surgeon. I think in that scenario, a utilitarian would choose the one person solely because his living would impact or have the greatest impact on the most amount of people. That's what I believe. Shit. So there we have it. I believe I that's all I really wanted to talk about with utilitarianism. I think I've touched on most of the nuances on it that I know about. Obviously, I am definitely not the most knowledgeable. I'm learning about this in class, and I just thought it would be really interesting to just talk about it, see what other people have to say. I really hope that you guys, whoever sees this, just comments down below and just tells me what their thoughts on it. Who would you save in the trolley problem if you were a utilitarian? Do you believe utilitarianism is a good way to make not just because I'm learning about this in a sort of business standpoint. Would you say that? So, like, would you say that utilitarianism is a good way of making business decisions, but not just business decisions, but life decisions? Do you think taking the, into account the well-being of the many, not really, over the needs of the few, is a good way of making rational and ethical decisions? I would really love to hear what you guys have. That guy sucks. What you guys have to say in the comments. So, I'm SomeNighterZ. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next installment of this very weird series. See you all later.